Crashland is a game about shooting bugs on an alien planet in an attempt not to die a horrible death to said bugs. Simple premise, right? That's because it is. At least until you're put under the pressure of dual-wielding weapons, keeping track of your surroundings with a radar, resource management, set times to survive, and combining all of these skills to ensure this doesn't happen. Okay, don't freak out. You're still with me, right? Cool. I know this game sounds hard, that's because it is. You can tell because people won't stop whining about it. But we'll get into that later. Crashland is a game I don't see enough people talking about, which is a shame because this is one of my personal favorites, and I feel like with enough attention from the developers, it has the potential to be one of the best games on the Oculus Quest. There are reviews and videos of the game on YouTube, but they don't tend to get too much attention, which is kinda lame because this game deserves more, at least in my opinion. So, let's get into it. I wasn't even aware of this until writing this. Apparently this game has a story? You're an intergalactic warrior who is crash landing on the same planet over and over for the sake of getting stronger.
But why?
Like, the thing is, whoever rescues you just puts up with this. And they're also conveniently, like, always a couple minutes away. Like, okay, I'm going on a tangent. Anyways, like I said, you shoot a variety of monsters, ranging from mildly annoying to holy shit, what the hell is that? Excluding training, there are 24 levels, each of which has a set amount of time for you not to die, along with its own theme and set of monsters to go with it. The themes are pretty cool, including rainforests, icy tundras, and everyone's favorite, pitch black darkness. Your main means of defense is your smart pistol, which is just a fancy way of making it sound cooler than it actually is. It doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but the pistol's bullets can be made to deal more damage by holding down the grip button while you're shooting, which allows it to fire boosted shots and makes it look cool by glowing red. Boosted shots aren't free though, and they require you to have boost, which is obtained in the form of boost balls that are randomly dropped from killed enemies. Boost balls that are lying around the field can also be used as weapons, as they blow up when shot. In your other hand, you wield the boomstick, which also doubles as your radar when you're holding down the grip button. Your pistol usually fires your average garden variety bullets, but the boomstick tends to shoot stuff that one-shots weaker enemies and deals hefty damage to the bigger boys. The boomstick is so good, in fact, it has a stupidly long cooldown that is never ready when I need it to be. Along with your weapons, you can also walk around, and if you're dependent on teleporting around in VR, I've got some news for you. See, normally in VR games that have you moving around, you can teleport to move by default, as a means to help newer players ease into smooth locomotion and minimize motion sickness. In Crashland though, teleports are a resource to be managed, and you only have so many before you need to wait for more to recharge. And not having teleports can be the difference between life and death. Now this is a feature I personally love, as it makes the game more challenging, but I can understand why many people would disagree with me on that. Now wait, you may be telling yourself, guns? Teleporting? Shooting aliens? It just sounds like another generic shooter. What sets this apart from other games? Well, dear viewer, am I glad you asked. Along with all of the other garbage I've mentioned so far, the main highlight of the game would have to be the perk system. Perks are exactly what they sound like, sometimes activated, but usually passive abilities that can massively help out during a level. There are 30 in total, and most are unique, ranging from simple ones like boosting your pistol damage, to calling a turret that can help you out and start blasting enemies. You start out with only one perk, but gain more as you level up by earning experience, which can be done by killing enemies or shooting boost balls. Along with more perks to choose from, leveling up also lets you equip more than one, up to 5 perks at once. This freedom of customization can lead to a whole bunch of fun perk setups. What's most important is making sure you at least have some perks on you, as they're the biggest help. Make sure you actually know what your perks do before you put them on though. Hovering over a perk gives you a brief description, and clicking the A button will give you a more detailed explanation of what it does, as well as what perks it synergizes well with. There are a couple of topics in the reviews for this game I want to touch on real quick, because they're either easy fixes or subjective, I suppose. A few people complained about there not being a left-handed mode, which is a valid complaint because it wasn't in the game at launch. However, now you can enter the game's options and the ability to swap hands is right there, along with the ability to fix another complaint. Why does my view get smaller the faster I walk? This one also happened to me and it made me freak out for a second. You just have to click on the vision tunneling setting until it's off. Another thing a lot of people seem to have trouble with is getting to level 1 after completing the training, and I can sort of see why. When you finish a level, the game doesn't automatically show you the next one. You have to move the levels yourself, left and right with the joystick. You can also use these little bubbles under the levels to navigate. And now, for the big one. The majority of the 1-star reviews come from complaints of the game's difficulty, so it gets its own section. Look, I understand that a game's accessibility is very important. However, a lot of the time, the difficulty of a game is part of what makes it such a joy to play. I understand that these types of games just aren't for everyone, and so do the developers after enough complaining. So they added not 1, but 2 easier difficulty settings designed to help ease your experience if you're having a bit of trouble. Beginner and casual. Here's the thing though, beginner mode I can kind of understand. It's easier, but not too much easier. Just the right level for those who are beginners and aren't experienced with these types of games. Casual Casual, casual, casual.
Perfectly balanced.
Casual definitely lives up to its name though, because you have 50 times your usual health, and the enemies have 50% their usual health, which results in, well... I'd say casual mode really is just for those who want to not play the game, I say, or just blast through it. The price for playing on casual or beginner is earning less points and experience though. So these are mostly a for fun or training wheel settings. Of course, on the other extreme, there are 2 more difficulty settings for the masochist inside of us. After normal, you have hard and nightmare mode. These modes are definitely not for the faint of heart, as they reduce your health and buff enemies' health, as well as making the overall playing field smaller so you don't have as many places to run. I recommend being careful with these 2 difficulty settings, as they can be the difference between and... Overall, this is one of my favorite games on the Quest, and it's a big shame that it doesn't get the love it deserves, at least in my opinion. The biggest reason is probably the game's difficulty. It scares off players more often than not, but with a little patience and perseverance, it's more than possible to beat Crashland.